Hello, friend. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the imperfect act of following through. And we're going to do it real style because I'm in the midst of a choice point of whether I follow through with something or not. This video that you're watching right now. So I don't want this to be a video about me telling you how important it is to follow through, but rather let's in real time break down what it takes to follow through and how to recalibrate our relationship with following through, because part of me is really determined to see the act of follow through as something so much more sacred and magical, actually, than what the experience we may have had with it in the past. So thanks for watching. My name is Maria Alejandra. You can call me MA. And in this channel, we seek to create a bridge between the world of the seen and the unseen. We seek to find ways and talk about the ways that we want to bring what I call bringing our light into form. And I weave in lots of different modalities and things, from thoughts that I have to things that feel like they're dropped in as if from another world to be shared with other people, and some astrology, some mythology, some archetypal work, and just general exploration of what it means to walk in magic, which is a very messy, very magnificent, and very deliberate act, in my view and opinion. Now, as a full-time caregiver, I have my hubby and my son outside. My husband was diagnosed with ALS nearly 4 years ago. I'm a full-time caregiver for him. We have some support during the week, but I'm always his number one go-to. I'm the mom of a 7-year-old and a dog mom. I am always tending to mental, physical, practical, emotional things all day long while I'm dealing with the heaviness of the grief of living with a husband who has a terminal illness, and the grief of how much our life has changed, all the things that we can no longer do together, and how my life will continue to change. So there could be many reasons that I could give myself not to do the things that I want to do. And I do give myself a lot of grace, and I've learned how to do that more and more. So this isn't a video about pushing through no matter what. It is a video about resilience, for sure. And I honor the resilience that I've had, and at times the sheer desire to just continue to leap into unknown spaces that both challenge and fulfill me, such as, creating these videos, for example, and the writing that I do and the coaching that I do and the channeled astrological guidance that I provide my clients and all that good stuff. But I have to say that as someone who lives this life that I've been living for the past few years, it's very easy for me to feel completely lost in that. And last night, I was actually in the midst of a very emotional breakdown around that, feeling a lot of grief around how many ways it feels like my life is no longer mine. And so I have to make a conscious, very deliberate and intentional choice time and time again, like little choice after choice after choice, to bring myself back to center and to discover myself in the midst of everything that's going on. And that's probably something that resonates with you, regardless of your situation. We're all going through something. We're all going through something that challenges us. And what I find in my continued observation and discovery of life and the world around me is that most people are living a reality that feels, the word is like clenched and tight and so like crimped off from the essence of who they are. And we can think about the act of, go find yourself, which I call shenanigans, because it's not about going out to find yourself. It's really about going within to discover who you already are And that's not about doing more. It's oftentimes about doing a lot less, but doing it in a way that has more intentionality to it. And there's this, I think, confusion we've all been living in, and this misunderstanding, this collective misunderstanding that in order to become somebody, you have to constantly be in this quest to do more, to upgrade, to develop, to, go, do, right? And so a lot of the inner questioning that we have going on in our hearts and in our minds, I believe, has to do with how to bring that back into balance. In order to bring that back into balance, though, we need to find points of very deep shifting and recalibration in the coding, how our mind has been coded to do certain things. And one of those things brings me into this realm of following through. Starting a project that you're passionate about, or starting something that you feel you really want to do. There's something important about it. Getting into the business of actually doing it, first of all, of starting that spark. Some of us are really good at that, and then we might flop at some point. Some of us have more of a challenge starting something, but then once we get going, we keep going. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, there's something to say about the long haul nature of the things that we want to create. And because we've been our minds have been primed and conditioned to have these very quick wins and success stories and go from 0 to 60 like that, and then we've misconstrued the whole act and process and really like sacred and magical nature of follow through. Why magical? One of the ways that I define magic, and hence the act of walking in magic, is magic, as I've described to my 7-year-old a couple of times, it is the belief in what we are capable of, to put it very simply. Magic transcends who we are. It's the act of believing what we are truly capable of in the world of the seen and the unseen. The world of the unseen, very practically speaking, has to do with energy. And it has to do with our thoughts, our thought patterns, and it has to do with our emotions. So magic becomes this beautiful both source and also agent and tool of transformation, of transforming energy, of alchemizing yourself and situations from one state into the next. So far beyond being something that is like so out there that you can't grasp, we can really come to see magic as a way of living, as a way of choosing, as a way of embracing the path in front of us. And of course, for those of us inclined to work in, to add some sparkle, it's really nice. It's nice to work with the symbolism, the spell casting, the beautiful, intentional experience of living a magical life. It's not a perfect life. It doesn't mean magic equates happiness, and magic is also incredibly gritty. Magic brings you very close to your shadows. Magic will crack you open like nothing else. The act of allowing yourself to become open more and more and more to the magic within you, the essence of who you are, and the magic around us, which includes how we interact with others and their essence, and how we interact with the projects and the things that we want to bring into form. I say the phrase, bring your light into form, because I really do believe that that is what we are doing. In these human forms, we are these agents of creation, of innovation, of making something out of nothing. Sometimes it's an innovation of something that maybe hasn't existed before, and that's what, evolution is all about, right? The evolution of our own progression as human beings, of how we make new things, create new things for each other. And it can also be the repetitive act of being in this sense of creation, turning light into form. Light meaning the things that you bring to the table that are very unique. I call it your light print, your own sense of creativity, your point of view that changes and morphs over time, the experiences that you've collected over your lifetime, the joys, the sorrows, your curiosity, your eternal question, your visioning. Being someone who wants to bring visions forth is this inherent, like, core part of the creative process. And creative not only exclusively for things that have to do with the arts, although that's typically when we think about creative, but the creative process is basically turning nothing into something. So that is turning your light into form. When light is an idea, a concept, an internal yearning of purpose, a desire to share some quality of your experience that feels valuable to share. It could be something that has to do with your self-expression that is inherent in who you are and that you want the world to see, and that in itself is this alchemical process of individuating your unique self and giving something back. Or it's something that it's an idea or something you want to bring to the table that is filled with curiosity. Or it's a way to be of service to help other people. Bringing your medicine into the world is not an ego act, although some people might certainly give it that flavor, and there's no shortage of people like that in the world. Let's not get it twisted. But I have to tell you that after having worked with dozens, hundreds and hundreds of incredible people who really have a genuine desire to make the world a better place through some sort of expression of something that wants to come through them, that they feel compelled to bring out into the world. There's a desire there. These people have that in common, and then we go through the process of questioning whether this is valid enough to share with the world, who will care when we do or do not share it, why does it really matter, why does it matter that we do it? And these are all such universal questions. I promise you, anybody who's out there creating something is thinking about these questions. So if they're part of your own process, know that they are perfectly normal, and they should not keep you back from sharing the thing you want to share. They're not a block. They're basically just part of the process. So just see it as that. That's one of the mindset shifts that we can make, is literally tell ourselves that anybody else out there who's in the process of making something that maybe they've never made before, or following through on something that they've started, that they believe in, but they're not quite sure about, we're all going through the same thing. So then we have these moments like the one that I was experiencing before sitting down to record this video, and if I'm honest, throughout the whole week. At the beginning of the year, I made a commitment to myself, a very grounded, intentional commitment to create and share at least one YouTube video every single week for 6 months, okay? And as most other projects that I begin in my life, I had, a bunch of ideas. I got really excited about it. I felt this sense of momentum. There's no shortage of ideas. I have a long list of ideas, and I have a few things that I've wrote about this week that I thought this could make a great video, this could make a great video, and they probably will make a great video at some point. But the fact is that the week was also filled with a lot of unexpected things, and most of my weeks are filled with unexpected things, but some of them it's like amped up a little bit more. Not only the practical things of living life and doing all the things that I get to do to care for my husband. Like right now, before coming to do this video, I helped him go to the bathroom. I helped get him set up in his recliner. I gave him his second dose of medicine that he takes during the day, and then he takes another one later on. But there's one around this time before I recorded this video. And then I set up this little pump that he has to basically feed him through his peg tube. He still eats by mouth certain things. He had a Snickers ice cream bar right before that because they're his favorite. And then I set him up. The whole time I am in my mind thinking this video. And I had already made the decision that I wanted to move through What I keep feeling for many of us, because I've brought this up in sessions with clients and things like that, it's like this membrane that we have that we must be willing to push through in order to follow through. And it doesn't mean that we don't have legitimate things in our lives that could take priority or precedence over the thing that we want to do. In this case, this video. But here I am, Saturday night. Right now it's 8:23 p.m. And I'm feeling this need to place some importance and I come again with this word sacred, which feels like really big to use for this, but I'm just going to go with it. The sacred quality to the act of following through on creating a video before today ends, Saturday ends, because I see tomorrow as a fresh new week. The act of doing this in itself, even though I really did not know exactly what I was going to talk about, what I was going to share, what this was going to look like, the act in itself felt really important to create. It is like a magic spell. It is a way to shift the energy and bring me into a state of momentum. Because what I reminded myself before hitting record and sitting down and getting into this act of doing this thing is at the end, on the other side of that span of time that it will take you to set up for your video, create it and post it, how will you feel? And my honest answer is I will feel so good. I will feel so good. Why? Because I'm doing something that matters to me. I'm doing something that I believe in. I'm doing something that feels very stretchy and there's something really compelling about that fearless sort of act of jumping into the unknown. And it both scares me because you don't know how people are going to react to the things you create, but it also really delights me to know that I get to choose the opportunity to do this. I'm not doing it because I have to. It's not a should. It really is an act of, I really want to create this. And so part of it is creating the conditions to get yourself as close as possible to making it happen. The conditions are far from perfect. They are not. There is no moment when I'm like, all right, this is it, the perfect span of time where I have all of this time that I can dedicate to this specific video. That is not necessarily a reality for me. So I have to plug it into some moment during the week where it can fit in. But I know that through the process of actually doing this, I can create both a shift in myself and also hopefully, for whoever is watching this, a point of inspiration to move through yourself. Because the things we do create ripples out. And really, the most important reason why I'm doing this is to move myself through this resistance point. I could list so many reasons not to do this video or so many reasons why it was okay not to do it. Let me put it that way. Why it was okay not to do it. A ton of pretty valid reasons I can come up with, And I could also list a ton of reasons why I really wanted to do it and it was important to do it. Every time I played with those two in my mind, for whatever reason, the list of reasons why it's okay not to do it seemed to kind of drown out the other one. Things like, well, it's okay if I don't do it this week because the week has been hard and I've had all these things going on. And yesterday I was really emotional and today I felt really emotional and really raw and really, what's the word I'm looking for? Just irritated. To be quite frank, I've been irritated all day, just at the verge of just like, and navigating through all of that. And I understand why I'm irritated and it's still not fun, but it's just, it is the quality of how I've been today. Nobody's really waiting for me to do a video this week in particular. Nobody's going to be like, oh, where'd it go? I don't have a boss that's like, hey, where's my video? All of those reasons. It's okay. I can do it. I can do it Sunday. And if I can't, you know what? I can stretch it to Monday. I can miss a week. I can start again. This whole window of time that I gave myself. And every time I said those things, I was like, but wait a minute. that the video, the topic itself, that was another one. I couldn't land on the right topic to talk about. I had a few things and nothing felt like, yes, that's it. And it's all going to just kind of fall flat. And so I could rest on that and go, well, okay, that's that. But every time I took a breath, and I have to say, I've been really relying on my carousel methodology. I recorded a whole video about that. I will link it below. Talking about consistency and follow through and this methodology that I came up with called the carousel. I explain it all there, so watch that one. But I've been really relying on it, and I was looking for the moment when my first hold on the carousel was going to happen, and it's happening. I'm happy to say that now that I'm here 20 minutes into recording this video, the carousel, I'm like on it. And it feels good to honor the commitment that I made to myself with the intention of knowing, like, I knew the reasons why. It didn't feel like something that was far beyond what I could create, but it was definitely a stretch to move through and past. Again, it's not so much about doing the same act time and time again, whether it's recording a video or it's taking care of your wellness through movement and exercise, or it's making art, or it's sitting down to write another chapter or page of that book you want to write, or it's, whatever commitment you've made to yourself that there may not be anybody kind of waiting for it. It's really something that's born from you, but you've decided upon it. And so it's not so much about the act of the thing that you're doing, but the whole experience of what it means for you to follow through on new terms. This is the time, and as I record this, Pluto has just moved into Aquarius right along with the sun. Happy Aquarius season. Aquarius is a sign that is charged with innovation. And the innovation that we are so thirsty for, I think, has to do with innovating the way we really think about things. It's innovation in our thoughts and innovation in our feelings as well. It doesn't mean think new things. It means give yourself permission to think new things. I hope that distinction makes sense, because it's not an act of, well, now I've got to do more work to innovate my thoughts and come up with new things. It's to take a good, honest look at the ways we've been thinking about things that are completely stuck and calcified in old ways that have created a rut. If you are feeling stuck in your thoughts and your emotions, then now is a really beautiful time and an invitation to innovate. Innovate the way you think about things. And it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to be willing to look at things from a different perspective. But so much of the reason why I think we're able to continue progressing and continue moving past the sort of plateaus where we might be has to do with that. It has to do with that willingness to innovate in our thoughts. So how can you innovate around your own experience of follow through? We've maybe had this sort of history or stuck paradigm or kind of way that it's been coded in our system, what follow through means. It means hard work. It means dedication. It means it's very Capricorn. It's very shadowy Capricorn. And many of us have been bucking the system in terms of we are seeking new ways to do things. And so I talked about this in that same carousel video. We've got kind of swung the pendulum to the other side, where now we have this resistance to creating parameters around the things we want to create. Part of the shift we're experiencing, and you may be experiencing in your own system in your life, is that we really are recalibrating the way we do things. The things themselves may not change so drastically, but the way that you approach them, I think, has to. The way we all approach them has to. And instead of, as I was telling somebody I did a session with this week, we had an incredible session. And I said, one of the ways that we are, that there's an openness now to do things differently, to think about things differently, is this. Instead of piling on new how-tos and new tools and new this and new that, sort of like these kind of more tangible things that we want to acquire or get to fix, it feels like right now we're just bringing all that stuff in and putting it on a surface that's just kind of not going to allow for anything else to seep through. It's just not, because the opportunity for things to seep through and really change and shift has to do with how we innovate in the ways that we're approaching our lives and the way we think about things. And as I shared in my recent lunar magic video, I've been having all these hits and really powerful invitations to continue speaking about the importance of really priming and recalibrating our minds this year. And I think Aquarius has a lot to do with that. But besides Aquarius, I've been getting this very clear invitation for me to keep talking about the power of the mind as the delivery system for our soul. Whatever your soul wants to bring through, we have to bring it through that agent, that gate of the mind, so that it then becomes form. And then the form goes out and becomes this energetic frequency again. And so the act of follow through is in fact sacred, because you are bringing something from idea into form and then letting it continue to go out and ripple into the world. And I know that sounds all like, so woo-woo, but really, this is where in the realm of ideas, in the realm of new things, new thoughts, new ways to relate with each other, new ways to govern, new ways to deal with all of the challenges that we have right now. There has to be a tectonic shift, going from this calcified mentality of, well, that's just how things are, to what could be possible. And when we doubt, because there's so much going on, hardship, pain all over the world in your life, and we feel so powerless to change anything, what we really can do is change and shift and innovate with our mind and our thoughts. And that alone, I think, has the power to really create massive, potent ripples and make us feel less powerless. And it's not about being in control, but being on purpose, feeling a thread of purpose. And that could be enough. Let your own act of follow through be a declaration of your own purpose, of what you believe in. Imperfect as it will be. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to make sense just yet. It could feel half-baked. It could feel raw and messy, and that's probably more of the medicine that the world needs anyway. Or it could be a beautifully well-rounded, full-baked cake sometimes that you present to the world and go, ta-da! Let us both see the cake that you've created and also kind of the mess behind in the kitchen of what it takes to make that. Because if we're in the business, and not everybody is, but many of us are in the business of being this part of this shift, we're like cooking some new things in this collective kitchen that I don't think we're quite clear yet exactly what they're going to look like. But we have this belief that by getting the right ingredients together and testing a bunch of things out, we will create something. And not just for the future, but for our current experience, for the now. Choices that impact literally the way that you move and wake up and walk every day, and walk in your magic, in your deliberate, intentional, purposeful, messy, imperfect magic. And as one of my clients recently put it to me in an email, I supported her in doing something that she was really, really excited about doing, but felt maybe ill-prepared until I lit a spark that she caught right away And then she made the thing happen. And a few days after she had already engaged in the act of doing that thing, she said she was waking up in the morning with a whole different attitude. And she's met with challenges, but she now has a taste of what it looks like to be in action with that purpose. And so, imperfect as her steps may be, she keeps going. And she wakes up with a whole new sense of purpose and possibility. And the circumstances around her have not changed. I'll leave you with one last thought. Yesterday, I had this, as I ask, what are the things that we get to heal? So many. But what can I bring into the equation to support us? And I thought about this idea of what it means to be caught in a situational slumber. Now, hope you follow here, or if not, just let it sit and maybe something will spark from it. So many people are caught right now in a situational slumber. The situations and the circumstances around them have basically put them in a state of just sleep. And the sleep has to do with the feeling of protecting ourselves because the world feels like a tough place to engage with. We sleep when we create things that keep us busy, when we attach ourselves to things that just kind of numb us. But what we are really, really craving is an opening of hearts, a connecting with our own essence, and a connecting with each other. This is a really prime moment in time, astrologically speaking, to connect with your essence, to connect with who you are and what you want. And when we all take a moment to do that, we will connect with each other from a whole different perspective. The situational slumber keeps us in this zombie mode of one day after the next, one day after the next. And let's not confuse routine with, hey, yeah, maybe our days look pretty similar, one after the other, but we are living in contact with the world. We have these receptors of energy that connect with the world around us and with others. And so instead of being in a situational slumber, notice if there are parts of your life where you feel that that's the case and where you can take a breath and engage in the act of waking up. Waking up through reconnecting with the parts of you that have been dormant. I'm not saying this is a snap of a finger and it's done. But if we don't take on that beautiful questioning and openness and awareness, what's the alternative? That you keep on slumbering the rest of your life, clenched up, closed off, not interacting with the world around you. This process of living and walking in magic, it's this constant give and take. Energy has to move and flow. It has to come to us and we have to move it back out. There's so much stagnancy in our feelings because of so much self-preservation. And again, this is not something that's to be judged or looked down upon. On the contrary, we've got to love up on each other big time because our state of stagnancy and slumbering and focus on situational things rather than the vibrancy of life happening around us is what's keeping us closed off. So what if we all kind of looked up and maybe cried and smiled through the tears and maybe let out a scream and kept on walking and following through? And on that note, my husband's feeder is making a beeping sound, so I'm going to go take care of that and then upload this video. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for sharing, for commenting below. Comment below on something that resonated, or maybe like a cute little sparkle emoji, unicorn emoji. We love those. They make the world a better place, I think. Or whatever it is that just made sense of everything I shared. I hope you stick around and we continue walking in our magic together, exploring and discovering. Thank you so much for being here. May you be wise, may you be free, and may you always, always speak your truth. Until next time, adios.